Thank you to the Kraken Black Spice Rum for sponsoring this episode.
Just in time for Halloween, the Kraken limited edition black roast coffee rum. This rum comes in a satanic 66.6 proof. It crawled out of the depths of hell and into your glass. It's unexpectedly rich, potent, and smooth. Try this new legend for a limited time because once it vanishes, it may never return. Available now, US only.
Release the Kraken!
Jackson's Braindead, also known as Dead Alive.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what's Braindead? I don't know what that is. I've seen Dead Alive many times.
Yeah, I know, because apparently only here in the U.S. they call it Dead Alive. Everywhere else it's Braindead. So,
yeah, I don't know why they do it.
So we're the weird ones, I guess. So yeah, this is Peter Jackson after Bad Taste, but before The Frighteners and Lord of the Rings.
Yes. We mentioned this briefly in rental reviews, the goriest movies we ever saw. This was my pick.
We did. I think we brought up a stat, which I forget again, but it was something like 300 gallons of blood used in it.
Yeah, something like that. I mentioned that...
and this was a repeat from 2007 again, so...
I mentioned like my short film, the school that everyone's in is the Father Magruder High School, which is named after the priest in this. So I really love this movie. Mm-hmm. But now we can talk about it like fully. We were focusing on just the gore last time, so... Yeah.
Which I guess really the gore is the
really is the biggest focus.
But I do remember the plot vaguely is about this this guy's overprotective mother gets bitten by some weird... like rat monkey at a zoo?
The Sumerian rat monkey. James, where did they get that Sumerian rat monkey from?
I don't know.
Oh, the movie begins on Skull Island.
Oh my gosh, really?
A New Zealand guy and a bunch of other people are stealing a Sumerian rat monkey on Skull Island. It says Skull Island, and they're being chased by the natives. Wow. The guy gets bit, and they're like, "Oh nope, you're gonna turn into a zombie." And then later on, when Peter Jackson remade King Kong, there's a part where they go into the bottom of the boat where they keep all the animals, and there's a crate for Sumerian rat monkey.
Wow, that is good trivia. I did not know that.
So Peter Jackson was working on his King Kong expanded universe many years before he even got a chance to remake King Kong.
Now you need to find a Lord of the Rings connection somewhere. Yeah, it's a hard one, but
the rat monkey is Gollum. So they bring the rat monkey, which has an infectious bite that turns you into a zombie.
Yeah, and then it just spreads from the mother to everybody else. And then by the end of the movie, you just have all-out madness of like a house just full of zombies. And it's a lot like Evil Dead. It has the same thing where like a guy is like fighting all these like undead creatures. And
as cartoony as Evil Dead can get, this is very cartoony. Like every character is over the top in this.
There's a soup scene.
Oh my God.
That's disgusting.
Oh my God. I gotta like stop myself from throwing up. So they're like, or no, pudding. It was pudding, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Pudding.
They're eating pudding and like the mom is already turned zombie at this point, and like her ear is falling off into it.
In the soup.
Gross.
And then somebody like eats it, and you know it's coming. You're like, oh crap. Somebody's head gets pulled back, and then whoa, I hit the lantern here. So somebody's head gets pulled back, and then they feed them through the neck or something.
Oh yeah, was that the priest? No. There's another character. So there's a little bit of a love story in this too. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think that the goriest movie ever, full of blood and vomit and shit and zombie babies being thrown into blenders, would have a nice love story, but it does. There's this whole theme of like trying to like grow up and be your own man because you're right. His mom is overbearing. You find out later on that she killed his dad out of like jealousy.
Okay.
I'm like, well, that's messed up. It's just a solid all around good film. Mm-hmm. A lot of little just a little bunch of weird things. Like again, the priest knowing karate and kung fu.
Yeah.
What did that have to do with anything? It's awesome.
Kung fu priest.
Yeah.
I think the most quotable line.
Yeah.
I kick ass for the Lord.
The guy doing the embalming at the cemetery. I think he's like a secret Nazi. At one point, his shirt rips and you see the swastika underneath. It's like, oh, so is he a Nazi that snuck away to New Zealand and is just hiding out? I'm like, again, nothing to do with anything, but there it is.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. And then like the priest the zombie priest has sex with someone. And they have a zombie baby. And then
that's right, yeah.
For some reason, the main character decides he's got to treat this baby like a real baby, and he's taking it to the park, and it's trying to eat people.
It doesn't it like it fights with somebody and then the baby gets like kicked all around and, and then it cuts this drunk guy who's like, yeah, and he's just like, it's the best thing he ever seen.
There's some cool foreshadowing, which we might have mentioned around the reviews, where like they show the guy with the lawnmower, and the lawnmower comes right up to the camera, and you're like, that's gonna come back, and of course it comes to that famous scene at the end.
Oh, the lawnmower massacre is where all those that's where all those gallons of blood come into play, because it is the entire scene becomes red. Like the color red is on everything. There's so much blood. Like if you thought Ash Williams' face was covered in blood in Evil Dead. In this movie, I mean, his entire face is red except for his like eyeballs, and then there's these intestines that are farting, and do you remember that?
Yeah. So like every part of their body, it's kind of like Return of the Living Dead. Like every part of their body is alive. So if you take their intestines out, their intestines are just going to move on their own.
Which is surprising that more zombie movies haven't done that. They're all, you shoot them in the head.
Yeah, they tend to stick to the head thing.
Yeah, like nobody ever does the Return of the Living Dead thing, but this one does.
And I guess Evil Dead, but they aren't really zombies. But yeah.
Yeah, and this one takes it as far as you can go. I mean, this was like the goriest movie to end all gore movies. Like, I don't think it's ever been topped since.
I mean, maybe there's a movie that has more realistic gore, more effective gore, but in terms of just volume, I think we said, like, this is it. You can't be this.
And also, the Dead Alive version, I think, it was cut. Like, they cut like a...
Yeah, I was going to say, I've only seen the Dead Alive version. What is different in Braindead?
It's more gore. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's even gorier. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I don't remember, like anywhere between 6 to 12 minutes of extra gore footage. That basically was like, okay, this was the parts that were too gory for them to use, but it's really not that much gorier.
So Peter Jackson, he's a very big special effects director, and you see like a lot of early stuff. Like he's good at using all of the, like Lord of the Rings, not just CGI, it's forced perspective, which I think is used at the end of this one. So his mom is like the main zombie. Yeah. And at the end, she kind of turns into like a rat monkey. She starts to look like the rat monkey a little bit. And she's gigantic, and to make her look bigger,
she use grows at the end.
Yeah, they use like forced perspective to make her look like this giant Godzilla sort of thing, which of course was used in Lord of the Rings many years later. Lots of forced perspective. Just so many creative camera stuff, like the hockey puck head. Remember the guy's head that gets cut off and like knocks around like a hockey puck? The transitions, like it's definitely a prop when it's sliding, but then it'll cut to a shot with the eyes. Oh yeah, and it's almost seamless. Like you kind of you're like, oh shit, is that like a person?
And there's so much going on. Like you don't have time to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And then of course the mother scene we mentioned, like then he goes into like the stomach and like remember that, where she like opens up her like stomach and puts him in there. And
I think she eats him and then he cuts out of her stomach. I forget what he cuts out with. Was it a chainsaw or something? I don't know. He cuts out of her somehow.
Yeah. And then there's just blood just spraying everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so fucking gory and great. Yeah. And comedic. Like you wouldn't think it's as funny as it is, but it's very funny.
Yeah, it's like a cartoony gore.
Yeah. Now, I never saw Bad Taste. Is that like similar to this?
Yeah, it is. Bad Taste is also really gory, but it's a precursor to this one. Like he made that first. Okay. It's not quite as sophisticated. Like it's not anywhere near Braindead quality gore, but it's still definitely worth checking out. Okay. But I think that, I mean, I know a lot of people have requested Bad Taste, but I just don't think you need Bad Taste when you have Braindead. Like it's just so much better. Yeah. I wouldn't mind reviewing it, but this year we just had to like be more economic and go to movies that I've seen already. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had time to do all this. Yeah. But final thoughts on
final thoughts, like you said, very innovative with the score. Much like Evil Dead, go back and check this to see where big directors got their start. Because like it's kind of funny that he did this then eventually did Lord of the Rings and remade King Kong.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. I know, it's so different. Yeah. After Lord of the Rings, I tell people about this, like, oh, do you know that he did this really gory, movie? Yeah.
And they're like, what?
Yeah. And like, he won all these awards and he's recognized in the mainstream, but this doesn't come up in the same universe. Yeah. Like,
And I guess this is technically the sequel to his King Kong movie because it takes place afterwards. So, do a double feature of 3 hours of gorilla fighting and then 2 hours of just blood and guts everywhere. You'll have a great time.